I'm glad we were able to come to an understanding. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is David Brooks, the Cadillac Counselor, just coming at you talking about things that are on my mind and things that are going on and around in the world. I had a conversation today with the Mayor of Thurmont. I would say one thing about Mr. Kinnaird is that he was very genuine, he was very open, and he was very understanding. He walked me down the history of the KKK in the Thurmont area. He pretty much told me that there has been KKK movement going on since roughly the 60s. Okay. I've talked to other people in the community. They said they remember growing up in the community and driving around on a Friday, Saturday night and seeing the KKK out on the corners at stoplights, at stop signs, handing out information about the KKK. Okay. So we look at the 1988 situation where the KKK in Thurmont wanted to come into Thurmont and have a parade for Just Say No. You already know how I feel about the Just Say No, but that's a whole nother instance. But and then they wanted to do AARP, the senior citizens. They wanted to do a parade. Pretty much they wanted a permit from Thurmont, but the Thurmont pretty much tried to put a lot of stipulations in place for the parade. The NAACP came in and they pretty much said that they would ultimately sue Thurmont if they allowed the KKK to do a all-white parade. Because because it was looked at as being discrimination. Okay, so Thurmont stood up against the KKK and pretty much put a lot of stipulations in place, and then they ultimately denied them. They had a lot of town hall meetings. People in the community stepped up and tried to represent on both sides. Mayor Best at that time ultimately did all that he could do to slow the KKK down. Roger Kelly and other entities put a lawsuit on the City of Thurmont. The City of Thurmont ultimately lost that. They lost the lawsuit. So they now have to, there's an order in place. They would have to allow them to have events or be granted permits in order to have any type of function. In that parade that they were talking about, they were going to have a slogan, a band that says, "Save our land, join the Klan." So we look at that back in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. That what was going on. So he tried to help me understand why why KKK has really had a big name in Thurmont. He ultimately told me that he knows that there's a big push in Middletown for the KKK. In Braddock Heights, there's another level of KKK. He said that he does understand and he knows that there are people in Thurmont that are still part of the KKK still to this day now. So we look at, is it Rocky Ridge the problem? Is it a Middletown? If we look at this is a Frederick County problem. So now we need to step this up. There are other entities of hate in different cities around Frederick County, and if we don't stand up against it, but I love the fact that John was willing to sit down with me. He was able to talk to me and give me the understanding of how much he hates hate. And that was something that was awesome to me. But my thing was, I asked him, so what are we going to do about it? And so I understand he gave me the understanding of commissioners and how everything needs to come into play. I don't really know the commissioners in Thurmont. I know a couple of them by name. I've met a couple of them. But what I can say is that if the City of Thurmont is not liking the way that this movement is going, or if they are liking the way that things are going, that we're exposing hate, that we are moving things forward, then you need to jump on board. You need to run for office. You need to go out there and make sure that the people that are in office right now are doing everything to keep hate out. And I know that from watching and listening to John, John is trying to do everything that he can do in order to get this thing settled and try to get this thing going. Mr. Kinnaird has been nothing but understanding of what I have to say and what he understands going on in the community. But now I understand that he went through a lot of stuff. He put some posts out there. People took it the wrong way, and pretty much his attorneys told him just stop answering some of these questions or comments because you just can't win. I understand that. But my question to him was this: what is the real problem? Okay. Is it the fact that, because I have a business, people don't want to come through the front door. They want to come through the back door, which is fine. But I asked him, what is the problem? And he said it was small town stigma. And he pretty much said that the reason why we have this small town stigma and why people don't want to come into the office is because people will talk about people's business. He said he could do something on the corner of Water Street and Main Street. And as soon before he gets back to his house, it's already on Facebook. There's pictures on it. And then next thing you know, it's in the news post. So people are talking. And if we're going to be talking, let's really talk. Let's not talk behind people's back. Let's not gossip. Let's talk about the real problems. We got a problem in Thurmont, and we need the people of Thurmont to stand up. He also said that the city of Thurmont is majority of Republican. So he said that a lot of the Republicans are really supporting of Trump. And he said the way that everything is going, that people just don't want to talk anymore because it's just too scary. People are being ostracized because they're talking. But this is what I asked him. I said, but if you want to be anti-racist, then we have to make sure that our community is just not being racist, because that's the difference. So it's not good enough just to be not racist. You need to be anti-racist. And so we talked about how we can get the city of Thurmont to really stand up, and we threw some things out there. I told him, listen, let's put together some type of propaganda to get this thing moving so that we can get it moving forward. So we have to look at this. One thing is that we called to action the city of Thurmont, and the city of Thurmont stood up. Any city that you're at, you call them to action and you make them stand and you make them have these meetings, not yelling in emotional in the middle of a debate or middle of a protest. No, you go into the office and you sit down like men and women and human beings and you have a conversation. That's what I'm calling this to be, is that we need to call people to conversations. Thurmont has a problem. Yes, we understand that. But we need you to step up. We need you to keep coming in here and making a difference. Is this just a Thurmont issue? Is it just a Rocky Ridge problem? Is it a Braddock Heights problem? Is it a Frederick problem? Is it a Middletown problem, Mount Airy problem, Hagerstown problem? No, it's a problem for everybody. We all need to stand up against hate. Make it great without hate, and we will see this nation get a whole lot better. I love the fact that John Kinnaird stood up and had this meeting, and I am glad to be part of that meeting. And we are going to make this, me and him are going to stand together, and we are going to make a difference in that city. And I hope that from that city it grows, because that's what this is about. Changing lives to make it better for our kids. Make it great without hate. Cadillac Counselor. Take it easy.